Empires News Association is proud to bring the general populace an in-depth look at the characters we're following. And in this grand adventure, we've been lucky enough to find our first of, a rather large group to have to interview. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, thank you for having me. Yes, my name is Caliph Merrick. I'm a member of the royal family. I am a ranger and I'm 33 years old.
Excellent, thank you for joining us. Well, I'll get right to it. Really what it comes down to is the people really want to know who we're following. So I'm just going to ask you just some basic questions to start with. As you know, we're all pretty fair to the people of the country. They can follow the religion, but, everyone, of course, has their favorites. Who exactly do you follow?
That is true. Many people in the country do follow different deities of sorts. I tend to follow Khalida, the goddess of light and fire.
An interesting choice for a ranger. Well, is there a particular reason that you chose Khalida to follow above the others?
I think following the light... I'm trying to think of how I want to describe it. I think following the light of your life, I suppose, is a way of determining where you need to go. And that light shines different for everyone.
Very astute. And not to be surprised, of course, given that you are a member of the previous or current, depending on how you look at it, royal family. Speaking of, do you have any fun stories of growing up in the castle?
There was one time I put a frog in Aurelia's boot.
A frog?
It's okay, she didn't hurt it when she put her foot in her boot.
That would be quite the surprise.
Yes it was. Everybody heard from all the way down the hall. It was quite glorious.
My. So I take it you weren't, or were you, brought up quite the same as our lovely queens?
Yes, that was the intention, was that I would be brought up the same as them. All your finishing schools and mannerisms and all the things that were, supposed to be prim and proper for a royal family. Did I always pay attention in those? No, but that's just who I am. I'm
Do you not deem the country's history as important, or?
It's not that the history is not important. I think the mock appearance of being so studiously proper is a little outdated. People, I think, would relate more to leadership being more like them.
I see. Well, our lovely Queen Aurelia does tend to be more aware of the common folk and their plight.
She does. She tends to appear to the people often, which is nice compared to others.
Was that pointed at anyone, or will you tell us in this particular interview?
Nah, I think we'll go ahead and leave that one alone.
Well, I suppose it's not all about where you've been. We do want to know where you're going, how you're going to get there. So, to that end, you've become a ranger in the most recent years, or classified yourself as such, which I assume means that you'd always intended to eventually join some form of guild.
I think it was more I just didn't want to be tied down to one place. I want to adventure. Go see places. And God knows the royal family doesn't have a tendency to travel unless it's for diplomatic reasons. And they don't exactly get to look around either. So.
Yeah, from what I hear, you and your companion, Hel, is it? Have made quite the splash for yourselves over the years.
Yeah, Hel's always been there. She's literally been my companion's not a bad word. Watcher isn't bad either. Royal family thought I needed someone to pay attention to what I was doing all the time. But she's been there since I was 11, so she's probably the closest friend I have.
That's very kind. Do you think that she would be excited, I guess, to hear that the two of you are so friendly?
Excited's a tough word. She would probably roll her eyes and go, "Look at him being sappy again." That would probably be more accurate.
We'll find out.
I think it's in here somewhere, but
We'll find out for ourselves in interviews to come. Well, let's get into some of our more abstract questions. These have been provided by the writers of our association, so do forgive me. Have you ever been tricked into doing something or saying something?
tricked into doing or saying. Well, when it comes to being part of the royal family, people want words all the time. They want to know anything. And I would say I don't know that I've particularly failed in what I say in a sense of being tricked into something, but not to impugn your work, obviously, but reporters have a tendency to try. They want what they want to hear sometimes, and that's why I chose to allow myself here, is this a little more integrity, I think.
We do try in our association, we do try. But no specific instances that you can recount or recall?
Nothing that I can think of. I may be loose-lipped, but I'm loose-lipped and tight-brained. I like to think.
How quaint of a description. What are some of the best gifts you've ever received?
Best gifts, well, everything comes back to, where I come from, obviously, which is royal. But, so that's my experiences that I have to draw on. And I'm sure it comes as no surprise to anybody that royals are good at gifts. Probably because of the nature of their lifestyles. But I can remember being as a child, and forgive me, I'm trying to remember. I remember being given it was almost like a chalice of sorts. It was like a cup. But it was lined with gold. And I held this thing close to me forever. Where it is now, I don't know. Probably in a royal cupboard somewhere. But for a long time I held on to. That was the only thing I drank out of as a kid.
If you could for us, would you describe your happy place?
Happy place. That's just out and about. Don't keep me locked in a room. I want to be adventurous. Going places. Seeing people. Doing things. Maybe making not the greatest of choices at times. I'm sure the guard that I still apologize to for knocking on his helmet will understand that sentiment. Ale is a friend, and it keeps life interesting.
Well put, my liege.
Oh, please. Cal is fine.
Absolutely, Cal. Oh. How about a little more of an off-the-wall question? Would you move to a new country for someone you loved?
Being that I'm not tied down, yeah, I would say so. If the feeling strikes, I think it would be possible.
Speaking of loves, but let's bring it back to the here and now, as I'm unaware of any particular love interest in your life at current. Which family member are you closest to and why?
Oh, that is most definitely my cousin Aurelia. She's the one I picked on the most, hence the story of the frog in the boot. But she's also the one that took it the best and played pranks back. We're closer in age than the others, so.
Played pranks back. Anything good?
I think I'll let you have to speak with her about that.
Well, we'll see if we can get an audience.
I'll see what I can do.
I've got a scenario for you next. A ghost appears in front of you. What do you do?
A ghost?
A ghost.
Being the skeptic like I am at times, I would first, I think, go see if I can remove a mask. Is it a person? If they'll let me. But if they would, obviously won't, and it turns out to be a ghost, well, you tuck tail and run first. You don't know what it's gonna do. And then you devise a plan of some sort depending on what you think it might be, and you try and either stop it if it's trying to do something malicious of some sort, or I suppose if it's just a wandering spirit, then you just let it be.
Most spirits would be tied to magic. Do you find yourself afraid of magic?
I wouldn't say afraid of magic, no. I wouldn't even be opposed to learning some, that could be interesting. Could be a very interesting thing. But no, I would not say I'm afraid of magic.
Well, that's good to hear, as I realize that several people in your group are magic users. A ghost is a rather odd scenario, but what would be the craziest thing that's ever happened to you?
Craziest thing that's ever, probably tumbling down the stairs of a prison, because that just was random. We'll say going to visit a friend and missed a step.
That sounds like quite the story.
Yeah. Not a whole lot back to it. Like I said, just going to visit a friend, but Ale is my friend as well.
Sounds like the story may not be something necessarily that you're willing to necessarily go into great detail with us on, but is there a moment in your life you would redo a redo of that we could hear about, and why?
A moment I would do a redo. I think skipping some of my schooling, me and, because she, was charged with I guess you could say protection or being watchful. Hell and I would skip a lot because, I just didn't have time for silly things like schoolwork. I wanted to go experience things, not sit at a table with someone droning on in front of me. So, I think that'd be the thing now as an adult that I would probably change is pay attention to schooling a little more.
Fair enough. As an adult now, looking back, you've made the choices that brought you to your current predicament and current life experiences. What exactly led you to the choice, though, of truly becoming what you are now? Was there like a particular entity or experience that you had that led you towards the class of ranger, or was there more to it? Or less to it?
I think going towards being a class of a ranger is just my, again, experience of wanting to travel. Wanting to journey and see and do things. Rangers have a tendency to get out and go and see and do. So, kind of fit my...
To a degree, out of necessity.
Somewhat. Some may run from a past, some may run towards a future. I mean, who's to say why somebody leaves? I don't think even the people that leave and become a ranger like that, I don't think they even... Not everybody knows why they did it in the first place. They just did. And they probably wouldn't change a whole lot if they could look backwards.
Something to ponder over. Well, we'll do one more just light question before we bring this to a close for today. Was there any companion of the non-person variety that's most notable in your life?
As a, I wouldn't say child, more teenager, I was tasked with helping take care of the falcons. That is no secret. People see falcons coming in and out of the main palace every day. Messages coming in, messages going out. You know, couriers are great, but falcons don't have to stick to roads. But there was one falcon that seemed to take a mutual interest in me as much as I took in her. Her name was Sorsha, given by palace people somewhere. I don't even know. May not have even been royalty. Just somebody taking care of the falcons named her. But I definitely had an affinity to that one falcon. She would sit on my shoulder as I would take care of the other falcons, and just be there, just hanging out. This was, 15 plus years ago, so Kalita rest. Sorsha, of course. Falcons don't have long lives. But yeah, that would probably be the one. That or the little rats that we find running around sometimes. I would play with those.
Rats? I'm sure that made your mother quite proud.
Everybody has them. It just comes with life. They're around.
I believe your friend Helle's not a particular fan of rats.
No. She may not be, but I still would run up and down the hallway with them.
That was delightful. It was lovely to get that little insight into your childhood, if you will. As an adult, what do you and your group, guild, club? I've heard it called many different things.
Club.
The Turtle Club, is that correct?
That is correct.
What are your current goals?
For me, it comes down again to what I've said a couple of times. I think that I just want to explore and see the world, and this merry little band of misfits seems to work out relatively well.
Do you have any personal goals that keep you with the group?
I think I just want to better myself as a person. Helping people. Those are my main goals.
I have heard that your group is looking for someone.
Well, yes, we are looking for somebody. Yeah. Her name is Adriana.
The former queen's sister.
Yeah.
Your aunt.
You caught on to that real quick.
As far as I know, she's not been seen for quite a while.
Yeah, that's about the story we've been getting when we ask as well. Those that have seen her have not seen her in some time.
Well, I wish you the best of luck on your journey and all the experiences to come, as I'm sure the rest of the public do as well. May the bards tell all the best stories of you.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate that, and may the light shine your way.
Be looking for that light as the stories are written in the stars.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. This is Beatrice Nilo with the Town Criers News Association, back again with another character interview with this lovely group known as the Turtle Club. We have another member with us tonight. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Allie, or Allison.
Oh, Allison, that's quite a unique name. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Of course.
Well, let's just start with some quick little basic questions. You joined the group, as I've understood it, by escaping a rather unique situation.
You could call it that. And I don't know if I'd call it I escaped, as more of I was drawn into the escape. I was just sitting in my cell, doing my time. And some random bird lady came up and took me out. And I heard some crashing. There were some guards taken out, as far as I could tell. It was an interesting time.
I see. That's quite violent, actually, compared to what we had thought initially.
Yeah, you never know. I could be wrong. Remember, I was in the cell. I'm just going based off what I heard and what they tell me, which you never know.
I see. Well, now, I guess, speaking of your companions, have you, I've heard you've made kind of a name for yourself in the town so far. You especially seem to have integrated yourself rather quickly into their little group. Have you felt that way, or do you feel like you're doing something else?
I would say I feel pretty into the group. I feel like I can kind of blend in anywhere. It's part of my charm as an actor, entertainer. Just kind of fit into the cracks of a group. So, it's worked out. I feel like some people are a little suspicious of me, but I kind of enjoy that. A little mystery behind you, so it's a little fun. But I think we get along pretty well. We've, done a few tasks, so it's worked out so far. So hopefully we'll continue on in that aspect of, going forward and helping people.
And a little mystery never hurt anyone.
Right, of course.
Well, we do want to uncover some things in this interview, and our writers have provided me with quite a few questions.
Oh, okay.
I'll give you a little easy one just to start with. What's your favorite color?
Well, you say that's an easy one, but I have a multitude of choices. There's a whole rainbow of colors. But I'm gonna go with black, because it fits in anywhere. It's also a little mysterious. The night, sometimes you just don't know what's happening in the dark of night.
Fair enough. Let's see, what's another really good, easier one? Can you describe for us your childhood hero?
Childhood hero. I'd have to say my grandfather. He was a really big influence on me. He was a warrior, as you would probably call it, but he didn't like to promote that. But he took on a leading role in his town and just wanted to help everybody. Everybody in the town still knows our family name, and is able to go to one of our family members and help or if they need help, because Grandpa kind of put it out there that we were the people to see. So.
I see. Your family name is well known in those parts.
Yeah, in those parts.
And what, may I ask, is your family name?
You've probably never heard of it. It's O'Connell.
I see. All right. I can't say that I have heard of it, no, but I'm sure that one of our people in the association knows something. Who knows? They're all very interesting people. As you can tell by this next question, a ghost appears in front of you. What do you do?
Okay, first I'd have to determine if it's like a threat or friendly. You don't want to make a friendly ghost angry, and you don't want to befriend an angry ghost. If it's angry, probably, protect myself, use some iron, some salt. If you know. Or if it's friendly, be friends, make friends, and maybe use it for a prank later.
Oh, a prank.
Yeah, you have to have a little fun every once in a while, and why not have a ghost helping you out? That'd be a pretty good one.
Could be. As you said, it probably depends on if they're good or not. Which family member were you the closest to, and why? You get to mention your grandfather. Is that?
Yeah, he's it. He's the one that taught me a lot about music. It's one of the things I liked to do when I was growing up, and he had a harmonica that he passed on to me and taught me how to play on it. So he was my closest family member. I used to be close to my parents, but we had a falling out over some issues. But Grandpa was always there when I needed him till he, passed away. But that happens. Everyone dies. I guess it's unless you're elves, you live a really long time. But us humans, it's considered humans. Us humans have a shorter lifespan, so he was always a big influence on me.
I see. And yes, obviously you're right. Unless you're an elf, who's going to live forever. Granted, that also I think depends largely on what path you go down. And you've chosen Bard as your class. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah, I'm a bard. I enjoy the entertainment aspect of it, but I also grew up on music. So I've tried to dabble a few things, but Bard's what stuck. It's the one I like to, use the most. May not be the greatest at it, but we're getting there.
I see. Well, being a bard, I would assume grants you the opportunity to have experienced many different things. Do you have a particular story that stands out?
Well, there was this one time you don't know what that is. I used to be in a troupe before this one, before our guild or whatever, that we used to go around and entertain. Obviously, we're a troupe. But we had this one performance, the Tale of the Four Queens. It didn't turn out too great. One of the queens was there, didn't like the way we portrayed her. A man played her. It wasn't my suggestion. I would have actually put a woman in. But so she had her guards come take the queen that was playing her away, and we had to fill in the role really quickly. So we had a teenage boy play it, because that worked out so much better. It just went downhill. We were asked never to do the story of the Four Queens again when a queen was in session. So, it was an interesting one. Just don't make one mad.
You don't have to confirm, but it was Leetta, wasn't it?
I can neither confirm nor deny the queen that was in attendance.
Understood.
I signed a contract.
Well, let's turn this back to something outside of that particular realm. I guess, have you ever been tricked into doing anything or saying anything?
Well, if I had been, I probably wouldn't admit to it. I like to think of my actions as my own. I like to be responsible for myself. So even if I might have thought I had been, I probably wouldn't tell you, or probably wouldn't admit to it until to my dying breath.
Okay, well, that's one way to do it for sure. Sorry, this list, I tell you. And they want me to use every single one on it.
Always a fun one. So, multiple people came up with your list and not just you?
I had the final say, and it was a lot longer.
No. Thank goodness you had the final say then.
Yes, I thought so myself. Oh, let's go for another fluffy one. How about describe your happy place?
It'd probably be a setting close to this one. You know, I really like a tavern. Felt really comfortable in one for a while, but I like, as a bard, I like to perform and sing, so probably prefer some music going and some ale. I probably would not be like one of my guild members and dance on the table, but you know, I'd have a good time. I'd spread the joy around with my singing if I could. But yeah, that's probably my happy place. I'd probably just go into my head and into a tavern and sing and be a little tipsy.
Are there any guild members that you've taken a liking to?
I mean, I would say like all of them, but probably Nyx seems to be one that I want to get more knowledge from. Her and I seem to have a little sleight of hand up ourselves, you know, by ourselves type of thing, so she seems interesting. I'm probably going to stay away from Cal and Hel. Cal seems a little too suspicious of me, and I, you know, don't want to poke any birds or anything. I mean, I'm sorry, not Nala. I'm not making fun of her. Apologies there, Nala. You know, I just don't want to ruffle any. I was gonna say feathers. Man, apparently I want to ruffle Nala's feathers. I don't know about that one. But no, I think we get along pretty well. But yeah, I think Nyx and I have a similar kind of mindset and mystique type ofness to us.
Wow, that is interesting. I had thought you and Hel were getting fairly close. She had, as I understand it, a nickname for you briefly.
She did.
Barty B, I think it was.
Oh yes, she she was trying to keep my mystique going. I was refusing to tell everybody my name to begin with because I really wasn't sure why they broke me out of jail. Was kind of suspicious of them, so I was letting them be suspicious of me. You know, work back and forth type of thing.
Oh, absolutely, totally understandable.
But she was the first member I roomed with, so I thought I'd be nice and give her my name. And my name, you know, Allison starts with an A. She decided that because I was a bard, she didn't want to be Barty A. She said Barty B. You know, and it just kind of stuck. So we haven't used it in a while, as far as I know. But I don't know. Hel might bust it out every once in a while.
It could be likely. We'll see. We'll see what she says in a later interview.
Right, of course.
Let's see. We've hit that. Let's go for something a little bit more fun. What's the craziest thing that has ever happened to you?
Craziest thing that's ever happened to me? You mean besides the No, you don't know about. Okay. You mean besides the Queen disliking our show? I mean, I was thrown in jail, which I will say was in itself a crime. You know, some people are just a little flirty, myself included, you know, like to have a good time. Does not mean I'm gonna be okay with everybody touching me. Some people are a little handsy, and I'm not a fan. And apparently, they were not a fan of me not being a fan. So I got thrown in the clinker. You know, that would probably be one of my top, whatever, interesting moments. Not a fan of that interesting moment, but, you know, it is.
With good reason.
It is what it is. I mean, there's probably some others I could think of if we had a bit more time, but I know, you know, it's getting late in the night. You probably have better things to do than sit here and listen to weird stories from Allie.
Oh no, stories are my entire life. Obviously, since I follow the, goddess of night and stories. Do you happen to follow a particular god or goddess?
You know, I've tried a few on, but I think I've stuck with Mython. I like to think of their phrase, you know, if you do not think about your future, you will not have one. You cannot have one. I like that thought. I like to think more on the future than the past. The past only drags you down. The future is what you're heading for, and I have a point I want to go to, so that's where I'm striving for.
I see. Fair point. We've already kind of talked about your grandfather, and I assume he's the closest family member to you, so
Yep.
that only leaves us with a couple. Would you move to a new country for someone you love? I don't know that you've specified any love interests, especially given the,
No touchy.
yes, the jail situation and the way you've just described that.
Yeah, I don't have any current love interest. Not really sure that's in the cards or in the future for me. I thought I had my great love and it turned out badly, so
That sounds like a story.
it is, but not one I'm willing to share at this time. But along the lines of would you move somewhere, I would probably move somewhere, but not for like a romantic partner. I had like my family bond with my grandpa, and I like to have friends, and I'd probably move for one of them, to be closer to them. But I don't know that romantic partners always work out. Friendships normally last a lot longer, so I'd be willing to move, to be closer to a family member or a friend that I was really close to, but not sure that a partner would be worth it based on my past history.
Well, I'm sure that there's something in the cards for you, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We will see. So I guess let's just end it with this other fluffier question. What's some of the best gifts you've ever received?
Well, as I mentioned, my harmonica came from my grandfather. That's probably the gift that led me to being a bard and everything that way. Well, I had some training as a child and, acting and things like that, but that's really what I think determined my attitude as what it is now. But, I think the gift of friendship is really, really a big one I like to have. I don't know that I have it currently in the most strong aspect as I would like, but I'm willing to work on it. Got several guild members to choose from, so we'll see if I have any really strong bonds anytime soon.
You are quite a large group,
Yeah,
which can be both a blessing and a curse.
right.
Are you worried that there will ever be a time when you'll lose one of them?
I mean, it's possible. People's lives flow differently. We all currently have a kind of similar goal to, build what we're building and get more knowledge of going towards something. Each of us kind of a different thing, so maybe our paths will diverge at some point. But so far, I think we're pretty good. But I was like, while I might worship the god of future, I don't know it. So I just look for it and try and project what I want. So we'll see how it goes.
We will indeed. Well, I can't thank you enough for this interview, and you have agreed. We're all very lucky with the fact that Miss Allie here has agreed to do a follow-up interview in the quite near future, so we'll be looking forward to that and what new developments come along for you and your group.
Yeah, thanks. I enjoyed it. Thanks for, taking the time to meet our guild and learn about us. We appreciate the kind of knowledge of us getting out there so that we can help anybody. So, thank you.
Oh, it's not a problem. Myself and the rest of the Town Criers News Association will do our best to bring you and everyone else up to the date news as we have it.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello and welcome back again. This is Beatrice Nyla with the Town Criers News Association, bringing you an interview with the lovely Nyx. Thank you for joining me today.
You're welcome.
We're on location at what is the name of this charming little pub? The new one that you all just have gone to?
I don't remember. Something about a lamb. Or was it a pig? Bengaled lamb? No.
Bengaled sheep.
That's it. I just knew it was something shiny.
Very good. All right. Now, it is so good to make your acquaintance. I have just a few minor questions that the general public are curious on,
Okay.
that have been watching us along the way. We'll start easy. I'll give you a nice little soft one. Describe your happy place.
You know, I kind of like being in a bank. They're nice and shiny and clean. Oh, so clean.
A bank.
Yes.
All right. Okay. That's an interesting choice for sure. Not surprised. I'm very not surprised on that one. Let's tap into your life just a bit.
Okay.
Describe a childhood hero.
A childhood hero. Serona. She's not an idol. I just very much feel like I can connect with her because I'm very similar in a way.
Fancy yourself a goddess, do you?
Not a goddess, just close enough. I very much love the fact that she heals people. It's kind of like me and my objects. I run into these beautiful objects that had these homes that were just unbefitting of them, and they need a new one. So I give them a new home, just like her in healing.
Speaking of Serona, our viewers might remember that you appropriated a robe from one of her temples
Yes.
and later were a part of the group that some believe caused her to appear.
I don't know what you are talking about. Can you explain a little bit more what you think?
Well, what we're just curious about is, do you have an affinity towards her besides just her apparently being your hero?
She is definitely someone I have strongly learned about from my mother.
Your mother. Oh. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your family? Where Nyx came from?
Well, I did come from a much different place than this. Definitely didn't come after this queen's side. But I will say my mom is an elf. My dad is a gnome, a rock gnome. They're a little bit different when it comes to beliefs. She was very, very, very strong with the healing side. He, I would say, played around with the idea of Orasho. I think I said the name wrong. Oratio?
Horatio?
Uh-huh. Okay, so Oratio and a Prickett. Prickett? Prickett. He, being a rock gnome, was very much into history and knowledge. Her, with her elven side, was very outspoken about how we need to have better care of our bodies and our actions.
Very interesting. Were you close with any of your
I was
family?
Very close with my parents. Very, very close.
I notice it sounds as though that's past tense.
They died of a sickness that they could not overcome.
I'm so sorry for your loss.
It's fine. I learned very fast from there.
I can guess. I'm sure that that's led you to many different, how should I put this, unique choices. Speaking of choices, what drew you to your class?
My dad, he was kind of a tinkerer of himself, but also the fact that I love the idea of the world fitting my needs. Just kind of tweaking it here and pushing this lovely little object into another side, and the way the wheels can turn from there.
It's a bit like tricking people into doing what you want.
That's not what I said at all.
Have you ever been tricked into doing or saying something?
Oh, now I see why you thought that. Yeah, you could say that before. I once found this beautiful box. I was probably 80 in human years, 15-ish in my years. Well, they they came to me and told me how I took this object from them and tried to say I stole it when it really just came to me. Uh, and then they told me how I have a great ability that they would love to keep molded and keep it going and try to teach me how to do things better. Instead of stealing it and finding a way to better not just myself, but a group. It was a great idea, marvelous idea. No, marvelous push. Just didn't fit. Kind of like a cog in the wrong wheel.
I see, I see. It's all very, very interesting. Why don't we take an interesting left turn? A ghost appears in front of you. What do you do?
Hello! I just ask him how is he and say hello.
All right. Well, that was a turn. So we'll guide it on back then. Most ghosts, especially, have unfinished business or have something that they wish that they could redo from their lives. What's a moment in your life that you would have liked to have redone and why?
A moment I wish I could redo. Well, there's actually two. I kind of want a different chance at. But I can't go back in time. It's kind of how history works. But I wouldn't have tried to steal the necklace and procure the necklace better off the queen's neck. I would have done that differently. Not that time, maybe a different time or not at all, I don't know. But it gave me an opportunity to seize, to get myself a little bit better off than I was at the time. But then I got asked to help with another deed, and I went to go help this group, and they came to me with great reason, and I procured myself a coin. And it so happens that that coin has caused me so much havoc with two other people.
Of course, she's speaking of the coin of favor that she stole or procured. That was to be used for Cal, was it?
Yeah, and he hasn't quite understood why, and now he's gotten pushy about it.
Yes, you two certainly seem to have altered your views on each other to a degree in recent events.
Yeah, you don't keep pushing and then not have an answer coming back.
Well, speaking of things we receive, what are some of the best gifts you've ever received?
Well, there's one in particular, but there was the fact that I got his tinkering kit. That was nice. But the one that really hits me is this beautiful bracelet. It's got pearls and rubies. It's supposed to be very enlightening. It was gifted to me very sweetly, and I can honestly say it's one of my favorite charms.
That's very interesting. Does the person who gifted it to you know that it's such a keepsake?
I don't know. I honestly have no clue because I've not ran into them again.
Obviously, you've been traveling with this group for a while and have had your ups and downs. Would you like to tell us some of the thoughts behind the, as I understood it, there was a battle that took place inside of the Shattered Monk?
Are you talking about the woman who stole my mouth?
Yes, I believe that was the chain of events I heard of.
Yeah, she was not very nice. I just had nothing else I could do, so at the time, I noticed two other people who had the ability to do what I couldn't do anymore, which is fire. Get rid of the hell beast. They finally figured it out after they decided to give up on trying to figure out what I was trying to tell them. So I walked away and decided to get them some healing potions, which mildly came successful. I got at least one, but yeah, that's all I could do, so that's what I did.
Understood. obviously you seem to always be on the lookout for new opportunities. It seems that at times you have separated yourself from the group for various reasons. Would you like to enlighten the general public as to some of those things that we wouldn't be quite privy to?
Things you wouldn't be privy to? I can only say I have other job duties to attend sometimes. And those job duties do not pertain to the guilds that I say we, more them, is trying to build.
Do you not consider yourself part of this group?
Not quite. Though, I will say they are much different people. So, the predicament I found myself in, it's unexpected. And they are much more like people I want to be with, want to see in the world. They just have a lot more growing to do.
I feel like all of you, to some degree, have that to look forward to. After all, none of you are exactly, pushing the elder years. Now, let's see. Let's do something more fluffy. Would you move to a new country for someone you love?
Love. I would have to find that person first.
Understood.
It would have to be a lot of change for me to have that happen.
I understand. It's definitely a big issue for some.
I am used to working alone. As I told Kale, I'm working on this new development of people. Like I said, they're what I want to see in the world.
Is that the ship name you've assigned to Hal and Cal is Kale?
Yes.
I see.
They're always together.
I was just making it clearer for our general viewing audience. Thank you very much for all of this. I feel that we have only just barely dug in to what really makes up Nyx, but I feel as though we need to watch and wait before you're ready to truly let us in.
More or less. I would say I've let you in as far as you need to go.
We'll look forward to hopefully getting more in future conversations.
We'll see what time gives.
Won't we? All right, well, I think that will do it for today. Thank you again for taking time out to speak with me. We will look forward to following you in your group, not group, as you all continue adventuring on.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Beatrice Nilo with the Town Criers News Association, back again with another member of the Turtle Club. And tonight we are so graced as to have Nom Nom. I believe that is what the group calls you, is it not?
Yes, it is.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much for joining us.
You're very welcome. Glad to have her. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. All right, now we just want to get to know you a little bit. You had been gone for quite a while. Is that true?
That is very true.
Okay.
I went off to look for a friend.
Allie.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't find her. And she ended up, well, actually, yeah, I didn't find her at all. But I ran into another farm, another group, that I decided to stay and rest from my long journey.
Mm-hmm.
And where I was staying, the innkeeper had twin daughters, and who both took a liking to me. Unfortunately, well, they were both very nice. I did become enraptured by the eldest, Lorna. I considered a relationship carefully, but in the end, we both decided to see other people.
Can we talk about that for just a moment?
Oh, definitely.
Now, obviously, you hadn't been with this group for very long, but what made you think about maybe settling down outside of the group in so quick a time? Because you'd only been gone a couple of days.
Well, I was aching for love, but I didn't truly want to get involved with twins because they're identical, and if I got to kissing one, it may have been the wrong one, and I didn't want to get mixed up in a love triangle.
I will be honest with you. Our sources have confirmed that may have been the case. And if we could just cut for just a second, we do have some footage with their father. So we'll just give that a second to play.
Don't you talk to me about that piece of shit, squirty little gnome bastard. I offered him a place to stay at my place because I generally intend to be a nice guy. But then he goes messing with my daughters, hurt their feelings, everything. If I get my hands on him, I'm gonna tear off his head, shit down his neck, then I'm gonna pound him into the ground like a tent stake.
Well, most of the rest of that interview could not be shown as, well, let's just say he's not your biggest fan. And some of it was not quite fit for air, but that's all right. We're going to keep on going. We're excited to hear more about your ventures and also to maybe learn some other things about you. So what else happened on that trip, Nom Nom?
Well, I traveled for another 3 days, and came up on a temple. The acolytes were interesting and devoted to their god. They made it pretty clear that they wanted me, but I told them I couldn't stay, as I was on a mission to find Allie. So we ended up breaking bread that night, and I left at first light. It was after this experience that I was considered that Allie had already returned. So making up my mind, I decided to return. And I figured worst came to worst, I could always take another path and try again.
Very true, and quite the attitude to have about it, that you could keep going and try again. It's very true. Very good advice for those of you at home. And just to finish up our conversation about your journey, we did send more field reporters out to the location. Obviously, with what happened between you and we've confirmed them to be cultists now, a part of the Silver Dagger cult. They followed Triskeen, was the god that they proclaimed. And I understood based on the, as I said, we have a little bit of a report here, that they may or may not have tried to sacrifice you at the time. How did you get away from that?
Oh, wow. I wasn't expecting this to come about again. But I had used the javelin to literally, like, to be able to throw myself over their gate.
Oh, I see.
So I could run.
Okay.
Granted, I'm not very fast, but I figured that was the best way to get away.
I see, I see. And I assume that they had caught up to you, and that's why the later devastation of the group had happened.
Correct.
And it says here that there were some remnants of a meal left over. So, hey, I'm all with you. I don't believe in wasting food myself.
No.
So, all right. Well, we've gotten to know at least what happened, and I appreciate you bearing with us on that. We do appreciate your candor. It means a lot to us. Let's move into something a little more fun, okay? We're going to talk about what has brought you to this group and into this whole crazy adventure. Should we start with a fun question, or would you rather have a more
Go with fun.
background? Okay. A ghost appears in front of you. What do?
I turn around and run the other way. Scared of ghosts.
All right. A fair answer. I absolutely am with you. Ghosts are not my friend either. All right. So, speaking though of ghosts, obviously, to some degree, we all have some in our background. You are the last of your tribe of barbarians. Were they all barbarians, or was it just you?
That was most of us.
I see. All right. Is there a particular reason that barbarian was the most common class type in your group?
The thrill of the fight.
Well, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense, actually. Did you have anyone in particular you were close to growing up?
Yeah, my grandmother.
Why were you close to her so specifically?
She was like a mother to me.
That's sweet.
If I needed somebody to talk to, she was there. Always full of free advice.
As all the best grandmothers are.
Whether it was warranted or not.
I hear that. Oh, that was so sweet. Since we're on that same track, I'm going to ask you to describe your happy place.
Me inside a brothel.
An interesting choice, to be sure. And while we're on interesting choices, I suppose, what's the best gift you've ever received?
My battle axe.
Oh, could you describe it for the viewers?
Yeah, it's a black handle, about a foot and a half, steel axe. It's got a snake insignia on the handle.
Sounds like quite the weapon.
It is. It's my favorite.
Who gave it to you? Or did you win it in a battle?
I won it in a battle of another barbarian gnome that was not in my clan.
Oh, well, we'll have to touch base on that story next time when I can get some good people on the ground to go do some checking. I love that. It was great. Okay. Well, okay, speaking of, other groups you've traveled with and other adventures you've had, have you ever been tricked into doing something?
Oh, yeah. I was tricked into fighting a beast that I couldn't win.
Oh, just out in, like, the open, or was this in, like, an arena or
It
something?
was in the arena. Knowing I couldn't win, I looked at one, I went to reach up, I pulled them down, and I flipped myself back up and got out.
You just pulled someone out of the stands and just left him there?
Yep.
Well, I mean, if you reached down in there, I guess that's really the only thing you could do. My goodness. Well, this has become a better interview than I thought it was going to be. Oh, let's drag it down another notch. Would you move to a new country for someone you love?
No. Me, I have no family left. I'm the last of my kind. Or the last of my tribe, excuse me, sorry. But no. That's why I truly didn't get involved into love on my path. I'm more about the fight. Friends come first before love.
Well said. Well put. Well, we want to thank you again for taking this time to sit down with us, and we look forward to talking to you again in the future.
Thank you very much for having me. I enjoyed it.
All right. See us next time. Who knows who we'll get to interview next? Thank you, everyone.
Cocksucker, motherfucker, asshole, piece of shit, son of a bitch, dog fucker.
Good evening. Beatrice Nilo with the Town Criers News Association. Back again with another member of the Turtle Club. Tonight we are joined by Thea.
Hello, everyone.
Well, Miss Thea, I'm so glad that you could sit with us tonight. I just have a few very basic questions.
Okay.
People out there are really wanting to get to know your group. We've heard so much about you, and you've done so much for Kazaya, and now it sounds like you might be doing a lot for, I can't remember the name of this little town now, Talnore or something along those lines.
Yes.
First things first, let's just go with an easy, soft question.
Okay.
Which deity do you follow and why?
I follow Bryony. Sorry. She is the goddess of floral and earth. So, as a wood elf and a druid, nature is a big part of my life, and I chose to end up following her also because of my druid teacher who had followed Bryony for years, and so learning to become a druid and following my teacher, I ended up then following Bryony as my goddess. So.
All right, understood. I'm sure that obviously we can see that you have an affinity for nature, so that
Yes, very much so. Very much.
comes across to all of us. So that makes a lot of sense. And speaking of people that you admire, tell us about your childhood hero. What made them a hero to you?
My father's parents, my grandparents would be probably my biggest heroes. Growing up, they were a large part of my life. They were around, living in the same village as us, so we were very close. I spent a lot of time with them. They taught me what the elders of the village did and everything, and they basically gave me a purpose when I was young in the village before I left. So they were there, and so I'd consider them my heroes.
Nice. That tells us a little bit more about you in a very sweet way. Just that connection to family, I can
Yes.
understand. Families tend to bring out the best and the worst in us.
That can be true, yes. Luckily, my grandparents brought out the best of me in my childhood. So,
Good time to be alive,
yes.
especially since it's more about finding yourself and getting presents rather than having to search around to find them.
Yes.
What was the best gift you ever received?
A small carved bear that my grandfather actually made for me, shortly before I left the village to become a druid. So it's what he found in the forest, so nature, and then carved for me. So carry it with me all the time. It was actually kind of my first inspiration for transforming into a bear, as everyone's seen. So it's very important to me, and so it's always with me, and I really very touched, and it's an important thing for me.
Was it your first focus that allowed that transformation, or was it?
You could say that. Yeah, it was being a bear. It gave me something to focus on as a bear. It's not, of course, 100% what a bear in nature looks like, but it does give me a focus to see, okay, here's this bear, here's what I then can transform with learning. So
Okay. Understood. In nature, we see a lot of different things, but I'm sure it's not as often that you come across, let's say, a ghost. If you were to see one, what exactly would you do?
Probably yelp in surprise to begin with, and then I would want to see if it was able to speak, to talk with me, to maybe learn about its life. I enjoy not only nature, but I enjoy also interacting with people and learning their life. So it'd be nice to see how this ghost lived their life.
I'm interested in stories too, obviously. That's why I got into this field.
Yes.
And it's interesting to me that you bring up the idea of speaking with the ghost. It seems to me, and I'm sure to several of our other viewers, that your group has a habit of trying at least to talk your way through a situation first.
Yeah. Doesn't always work to our advantage.
Would you consider yourself, when you're having to physically come into a fight, more of a magic, melee, or ranged fighter type, and why?
I probably have to say magic, because as a druid, I am learning still, spells and enjoying learning spells, as I progress through the different ones. And also, so even when I become a bear, it starts with magic before I get all growly and in their faces with my claws or my teeth. So yeah, I'd have to go with magic being my main fighter.
I have noticed that you use spells more often, I think, than the majority of your group.
There's not many, like, I think there's a couple others that have spells, so. But yeah, I tend to gravitate towards that, so.
Understood. I think we're going a little too deep. This is mainly the point of this is just to get to know you as a person. So I want to back it up just a little bit.
Okay.
What's your favorite color?
I probably have to say green, like my eyes, and also because of nature. So, green, of course, obviously makes me think of nature, and I really enjoy, I'm sure some people have noticed, I kind of wander off into nature just to kind of sit and just listen and enjoy all that nature has to offer. So, yeah.
So if I were to say have to go find you in the middle of the day, it would probably be by the tree in a wood or something.
Likely I'd probably be, if there's woods available there. I have sat by a fountain just to, when there's not a lot other nature to it's at least an element of nature, so that I can enjoy some part of nature at that point. So
you're not just a one element type of person.
no, I I enjoy all the elements. Rainstorm in the forest is beautiful, so
Very calming for sure.
yes.
Or, an instant bathroom trip, one or the other.
Exactly.
What has been your favorite part of your journey with this group?
I think I would have to say getting to know new people. So as a druid, I lived with my teacher for 100 years, just the two of us.
Oh.
Yes. We had very little interaction with other people, so it was mostly the two of us. And no offense to my teacher, but only one other person gets a little boring. So it is nice to have more people to interact with, and even traveling, which I didn't do for 100 years, very much of. We stayed very local to where my teacher lived, so nice to get out and meet new people and get to know their lives and how they live and everything. So
you're almost reacclimating to society being with this group.
a little bit, yes. I've been on my own for about 5 years now, so this is I've just kind of been wandering. So yeah, just kind of really, this group kind of really puts me into society with others. So yeah.
You did latch onto them, it seems, rather quickly. All of you seem to come together.
That is true.
Even
yes.
as much as I watch you almost try and break yourselves apart, you've also stuck together so heartily. I have to wonder, if what you see in each other is enough to keep the group together. I mean, do you have any concerns about being with this group?
There's some attitudes that at times seem to escalate and become agitated, so that does concern me a little bit. With, of course, disagreements and not wanting to completely destroy the group due to a argument. So so hopefully we can in the future keep attitudes a little calmer and not be so agitated. And then I'm always thinking maybe be like, okay guys, I need a break. I'm gonna go sit by a tree for 5 minutes and center myself with nature, and hopefully that would help me. And then hopefully, like, if I kind of pause the situation, that everybody else has a bit of a pause as well. So
That makes sense. And honestly, if Nyx can stop in the middle of a battle to brew a potion, obviously
Yes.
you can
Oh
take
my
5
goodness,
minutes
yeah.
to commune.
I would hope so. 5 minutes, not in a battle, would definitely be better than in the middle of battle, sitting on the floor and creating potions.
Not that we don't love ourselves in Nyx.
Oh yes,
but-
of course.
Oh, do you, speaking of, the various characters that you have in your group, do you feel particularly close with anyone?
Nala would probably be the one I'm closest with. We really seemed, in my opinion, to connect when we first met. I'm sure if people have noticed that we kind of gravitate to doing things together. We've been sharing a room lately. I said, everybody's like, why? You can have your own room. It's like, well, as a druid and an elf, well, I guess more as an elf than anything, I don't sleep. I don't need to sleep. So a few hours in a trance and I'm basically had 8 hours for most people. So I don't really need a bed. Like where we're at now, there's a nice chair in the corner and it's comfortable and I can sit and go into my trance and now I can enjoy the bed. And so it also saves us a little coin. So
That's a fair point, and something I'm sure most people out there can understand. I will say that it does seem as though the two of you are perhaps the more calm, quiet types out of the group, and maybe you gravitate towards each other for that reason.
that would
be my
probably
guess.
be true as well. We do have some
Not that there aren't those out
loud
there-
voices in our group, so
Well, and not that there aren't those out there that speculate that there's more, but
yes, no, there's not. There is not more. No, yeah, we're both tend to be on the more quiet side, and so with some of the louder voices in the group, it's nice to have someone that you can kind of just sit and be quiet, not even talking, just sit with. So it's always nice to have some quiet, even with another being. So
I can understand that. It's not always, you don't always want to be with a whole group of people, but you don't want to be alone either.
right, yeah.
Absolutely makes all the sense. All right, well, we've gone through kind of your beginnings and where you are now. What are your goals?
I think in the shortest term, it would be to attune with the cloak that I found, and learning all of its attributes going forward. And then, sure most people know I'm looking for the crown of the animal kingdom, which I've heard is real, so we will see. But it will help me with, as a druid, like transforming into animals more easily. Not that I haven't learned to transform into a bear and everything. And then of course my longest term goal would be to transform into an owlbear. So owls and bears have always been very significant and important in my life. They remind me of my parents, my grandparents, so it's a very significant and important animals in my life. So And then, of course, the first time I saw an owlbear, I was just in complete awe of this animal. They're very majestic, and so that would probably be, yeah,
Your longest.
my longest term goal. It is a long term goal, definitely working towards. So
Yes,
Takes-
I understood it. It's quite the amount of power and just general
Yes.
skill you have to have because of the blending of avian and
yeah,
mammal
it's complete. Yeah, it's two completely different animals that become one. So like I've got the bear down, and I think maybe the next step would be the owl, and then working towards them becoming one. So
I know that from other druids that we've spoken with that they've typically had to go to an animal of the more aquatic sense before they could get to the flying animals. Do you know or have an idea of what type of animal you may want to shift towards? Or what might be helpful in your current-
the bear came. The bear I feel came easy to me, being of course more attuned towards bears in general. So I could try for a water animal. I don't know. Trying to remember back to my teachings, that if something aquatic would be easier, I could try something close to a bear. Maybe might go for like a wolf or something that'd be at least similar before trying aquatic, because I feel like that's a little bit bigger of a jump. So maybe keeping towards like the mammals for a time or two, learn a wolf, and then maybe try for something aquatic.
like maybe an otter or a beaver.
Something, yeah, probably transforming to that would be definitely easier than trying to go like a fish. Because at least they still have similar body structure, but they are aquatic, yeah. So who doesn't love a cute otter?
Absolutely. Myself included.
Yeah.
Well, this has been just delightful. I so appreciate you taking the time
Oh,
to
of
speak
course,
with
of
us.
course, no problem. It was a joy.
Oh, it's so lovely to hear. Well, we are probably going to pull you again for another chat in the future.
Okay.
But I do appreciate you taking this time, as I said.
Yes.
And I'm sure everyone is so excited to not only watch, of course, this video if you haven't
Yes.
already been through the others, but there's more to come. So we're not done with everybody yet. Thank you again, and I hope everyone has a pleasant evening.
Right.
Beatrice Nilo here with the Town Criers News Association, bringing you again another lovely interview with another member of the Turtle Club, or the Turtle Club Guild. They haven't quite specified which way they want to go anymore, but we are here today with Hell, I believe the group calls you.
Yes.
But as I understand it, you have a more formal title.
Yes. It's Lady Halara Willow Aurora Calliope Wind's Sword.
That is a name.
Yes, well,
Not surprising for dwarvish nobility, however. Well, I appreciate you taking the time out to meet with me today.
Mhm.
And if you don't mind, we just have a few questions that the viewers are just
Sure.
itching to know. So if you could, let's just start with some little softballs. What's your favorite color?
My favorite color is silver, like my armor, but it reminds me of growing up in the castle, and that's why it's my favorite color. Actually, I picked out this armor to match my favorite color.
It's an interesting fashion choice, honestly.
Mhm.
Well, I guess it's not really so much fashion as it is about protecting yourself
Right.
and your charge. Which deity do you follow and why?
So I follow Prekit because he's the god of knowledge. And growing up, I really wanted to be educated like my older brother, Thorin, who is the heir to my family's dukedom. but being the female child, I was not allowed to be as educated as my brother was. And I always wanted to be more educated. So I follow pre-kit for the pursuit of knowledge.
That makes perfect sense. We girls have to have more knowledge. More knowledge is more prepared.
More power, yeah.
Exactly. Now, let's get into something a little bit more juicy. What's the best gift you've ever received?
So the best gift I ever received was the guidance and friendship I got from the queen, the former queen, I should say. She took me under her wing when I was younger and mentored me, and it greatly influenced who I am today. And she also allowed me to have more education than would have normally been allowed for someone of my station.
You must have had a very special bond then.
Yes, we were rather close. It's part of why I was tasked have been tasked with protecting Cal, because of my bond with her.
I see. I would have guessed that that's not the easiest of charges to have on occasion, having met Cal.
He has kept things very interesting, that's for sure.
I'll have to come back to you for more stories at a later date, for sure.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's go for something fun. You see a ghost. What do you do?
That would depend on who the ghost is. If it was someone, one of my loved ones, like the former queen or my father who's passed, I would probably talk to them, tell them what's going on in my life, maybe ask for advice. If it was someone I didn't know, I would be less inclined to speak with them, as a ghost. So.
Just one of those see a ghost that's not important to you and turn
Right.
around and leave them.
Yeah.
I get that, honestly. Especially if they're non-communicative anyway. That
Right.
would be more difficult.
It just passes by you, it's fine.
Speaking of the people who are important to you,
Mhm.
who was a childhood hero and why were they a hero to you?
The first one I could think of would be the former queen. Like I said before, she had taken me under her wing and mentored me. Her mentoring me really allowed me to have more education than my parents wanted me to have, and it's like traditional for someone, a female child of dwarvish nobility. So she allowed me that, and we were also like close a friendship as much as like a grown woman and like younger child, young adult could be. But
Something of a
Yeah.
role model.
yeah, definitely.
Makes total sense. Speaking of your group and possible role models and such,
Mhm.
what's been your favorite part of the journey traveling with this group?
I really enjoyed like meeting the group of people that has made up the Turtle Guild Club and getting to know them. It's been very interesting to meet new people and learn from them, and also learn about the places that we've been traveling. So it's been interesting.
You've definitely seen your fair share of cities already.
Yes, yeah.
Which do you think that would be more common for you as dwarvish nobility? Would you have more or less stayed to the hill, or would you have?
I probably would have stayed more to the hill, just because that would be what my family would want me to just, stay in our homeland kind of thing, and be married, and I would then go to my husband's. But since I've taken the route I have, that's not what will happen, kind of thing. So
No romances on the horizon, or
no. no, not in the plans, at least for the foreseeable future.
That makes sense. It's fine.
Mhm.
We'll have to wait and see, I suppose. We spend a lot of time, of course, watching you all talk your way out of situations,
Yes.
but there has been the rare occasion where you've actually entered into an altercation.
Right.
Do you think of yourself more as a magic, melee, or ranged fighter, and why?
I'm definitely like a combination of all three. The weapons training I've had has allowed me to be proficient in both melee and ranged weapons, and I also do know some magic, so I really am able to kind of pick what fits the situation and use what is needed in that situation to be able to like take care of the opponent we have.
It's good that you're more analytical, and I'm sure that comes with your experience not only in protecting Cal, but also with traveling with this group.
Yeah.
But do you feel that there's anything that you're concerned about with this group, or something you have to watch for more?
Yeah, so while I've enjoyed getting to know everyone in the group and learning about them, my main concern is I don't know them, as well as I know Cal, because I've known Cal for years at this point. So I don't know everyone's true intentions, and I don't know if they're 100% trustworthy, since my main thing I'm doing right now is guarding Cal, keeping Cal protected. I have to take those kind of that's my main concern, because I don't know if I can trust everyone else in the group. I know I can trust Cal, but it's my job to keep Cal safe. So,
and trust has to be earned, of course.
Right.
And
Yeah.
as you said, you haven't known them that long.
Yeah. Yeah.
But are there any people in your group, I should say, that you feel that you've grown closer to besides Cal?
Not anyone as close as I am to Cal. There's some that like I'm getting close to, like Allie and I have kind of, talked more lately. Cal seems to be close kind of with Nom Nom, so like through Cal kind of know Nom Nom a little bit, but still trying to get to know everyone some more before I would say I'm really close with anyone besides Cal in the group.
Well, I'm sure that it won't take long before all of you are the best of friends or worst of enemies. Really, it could go either way at this point. But do you have any goals that you would like to discuss with us? Any short-term, long-term?
So my main goal is, of course, protecting Cal on his adventures. That is what the former queen has tasked me with, and while Cal is alive, that is, what I will be doing. After that is no longer a thing. I would like to go back to like my homeland in the Dwarfish Kingdom, to the lands of the dukedom where I grew up, and help my brother Thorin, who's now the duke since our father passed, help him to train and teach the next generation all the knowledge that I've learned, weaponry and non-fighting knowledge as well. So that's
very interesting. When you think of your pursuit of knowledge, is there something that like speaks to you more, or is it just knowledge in general that you're after?
Right now I would say it's more just like general knowledge. That may change in the future. Especially like while I'm protecting Cal, general knowledge, obviously like weaponry, fighting, I kind of need knowledge of that right now, but just more general right now. I'm sure that'll change later.
All right. Well, I've thoroughly enjoyed speaking with you this evening, and I appreciate you taking the time out to do that.
Yeah, it's been great. Thanks for having me.
I'm sure we'll be back again soon. I have to hear tales of you and Cal when you were younger.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know how Cal is now, so there was a lot of shenanigans when we were younger too.
Having to rescue him out of trees, or are we talking something more?
There's an incident of him getting into a pig enclosure. I can think of it was a dare from one of his friends. Anyway, it was very muddy, and he tracked a lot of that into the castle, and it was not pretty.
The guards or the housemaids?
Both were very mad. The guards, because they didn't realize it was Cal, so they were chasing him through the castle.
Oh.
He was like completely covered head to toe in mud.
That's
like unrecognizable. So they thought he was like a like,
intruder or something.
Yeah, intruder,
Far
a
worse.
thief or something. And then so they were trying to chase him, and then they're sliding in the mud that he's like trailing behind him. And yeah, the housemaids were not happy with Cal for a very long time. He felt that in the his room was always the last fire to be lit in the morning. They would leave him cold water to wash up in the morning. Just little things like that, until he apologized and profusely to them. I think he even may have his father may have given them a bonus, because he was still like a kid, so he didn't have much money of his own to
That
to
makes
make up
perfect
for
sense.
his shenanigans. And at this point, it's not the first time that an incident like this happened, but it was the first time with like pig enclosure, the pig pen, and him getting mud like that. But he definitely was one that caused chaos and stuff in the castle. So
Obviously, you're close to him, but did you feel closer to the queens as well?
The current queen's not so much. I was very close to the former queen. I obviously knew the other, her daughters that are the current queens, but like they were a bit older than me, and so I didn't know them as much. Yeah.
Understandable. Again, I thank you for this time, and I'm going to dig all of the stories out again.
Yes,
when I
yes,
see you
yeah.
next.
Yeah, I can definitely share some more Cal
I
shenanigans
have a
stories.
feeling you're a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Well, thank you again, and we will see you all next time with the last member of the group before maybe we start round 2 with them. Just a little teaser for our friends out there. Thank you again for joining us. Have a great evening, everyone. Good evening. Beatrice Nyla with the Town Criers News Association, bringing you the final interview in our initial interviews with the Turtle Club or Turtle Club Guild, depending on who you've listened to up to this point. Now, tonight we are joined by Nala, so we're so excited to have our one and only bird Anatar with us to talk us through with just getting to know you a little bit more, really digging in there to get to know Nala. Now, our research team has come up with a list, and I truly appreciate you being willing to come in and answer some very basic questions for us and with us. So, let's start off easy if you're ready.
Okay.
All right. Which deity do you follow and why?
I follow the deity Mython of fate and future. And I follow her because life is a mixture of good and bad, and you can never have 100% good all of the time. And it's from the bad occurrences where we gather the valuable knowledge and experience on how to make the good things happen. The consequences of the decisions we make and the actions we took, consciously or not, are what shape our futures.
Very well said. Very well spoken. And that's such an adult answer, considering your age, as I know you are the youngest of the group. But speaking of, because you are so close to your childhood, who was your childhood hero, and why exactly, like, what made them the hero to you?
My hero was my mother, and she was my hero because she treated me as an equal, and taught me everything that she knows in the short time that we had together.
I'm so sorry for your loss. I just do want to put that out there. And it's sweet that you remember that. That's a very unique and I would say well, I say unique. I feel that a lot of people will find that relationship will speak to them. Speaking of relationships, some of the best things that we get out of the relationships are both the physical gifts and the not so physical gifts that people leave to us. But what would be the best gift you've ever received?
I received a pocket watch sundial from my monk group. It's silver and iron, has a silver chain, and an enchanted glass dome, so it won't break.
Probably for the best, given your current line of work.
Yes.
And I would assume, since it's silver and iron, that that would be another indication of Mython.
Yes.
So they were monks that followed Mython.
Uh-huh.
I see. Well, speaking of people that we see on occasion, you see a ghost in front of you. What do you do?
I would freak out a little, and then I would be curious as to why they're there and how I can see them and what they want.
A good mix of fear and curiosity, something more people could honestly have in spades. And you are certainly just that type of person to find a ghost in your current line of work, as we said. Are you, would you say, more of a magic, melee, or range type of fighter, and why?
I would say I am more of a melee type of fighter because I like to be up in the action, and then I can use my sword and my daggers.
Interesting and very versatile. Good thing to be. And since you're so versatile, I'm going to go back to an easier question to ask you what your favorite color is.
Red, because it's the color of blood.
An interesting choice. Is
Yes.
there a reason beside that? I guess, where does the blood come into play?
It's just always been a fascination. You know, you can substitute it for eggs if you ever need to.
An interesting choice. I don't know that I would personally make it, but I do see any knowledge is good knowledge. Let's go back to your group, shall we? Because I feel that they're the most influential on you at the moment. What has been your favorite part of your journey with this group thus far?
I think my favorite memory so far has been when Nyx decided in the midst of a battle and she lost her mouth that it would be a good time to make some potions.
This was during the battle with the Habiti at the Shattered Monk, was it?
Yes.
What in particular made that event so amusing? I mean, I realize that was quite the battle for you. Probably one of the first battles you ever fought as a group.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was just amusing that that was her course of action to make some potions.
You would think that she would pick up like a sword or something and
Yes.
assist in the fighting, but
Yes, but no. She says that was the only thing she could do, so she went with it. Good for her. It was amusing.
well, I'm glad that you found something funny out of it. I know many people in your group did not, and that was one of their things that they look at as a reason for why they couldn't trust her. So it's become somewhat of a concern. What has been your biggest concern with this group?
I think all of the secrets are a concern. Because secrets don't make friends. Friends make secrets.
Wise. Little rhymey, but wise. Of course, even with all of the secrets in the group, I know that you've made some connections.
Mhm.
Who do you feel closest to in your group?
I would have to say Thea, because she is the first one that I connected with, So we are OGs. And I think we're both the quieter ones.
Always have to watch the quiet ones. And just so we can put this little issue to rest, you and her are just friends, is that correct? Or is there something more in the future we need to be looking toward?
We are just friends.
Okay. I'm glad that we got that cleared up. I had the feeling that that was the case, but I felt that we should make it very clear to the audience.
Yes.
Now, my last one is a little more abstract as far as questions go. What are your goals? I realize you're, again, on that younger scale, but do you have any goals at this current time?
I do not. I would say my goals are just to make some goals for the future.
That's a very good way to put that. And again, being where you are in your age, I'm sure that that's exactly where you need to be. And hopefully being with this group will help you to find exactly what you're going to do from here on out. Or maybe Mythen will guide you, who knows. Well, we would definitely like to thank you for taking the time out to meet with us this evening. Your presence has been so lovely.
Thank you.
You're absolutely welcome. And we will see you all sometime in the future. Who knows? Mythen knows at least. When we bring our heroes back eventually for their second round of interviews, likely it will take us a few weeks before we come back to them. We want to let life happen for them first. But thank you all for watching, and again, thank you so much for being with us. We hope that you have a pleasant evening.